There are some events in the history of the ABC that have the power to move even the managing director and the assistant managing director to vacate the premises. David Hill is complaining of being ill, but the real reason he's not here tonight is that the infamous Pat Alexander, as we all know, who runs our mailroom but is equally famous for having written the great song "I Love to Have a Beer with Duncan." Pat, of course, has found his ultimate vocation and has written his commentary on ABC management called "Of All the Bosses."
We really need a David Hill lookalike. Marius Webb. Marius Webb, come on. Now that'll do. Thanks, Marius. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. There is a widely held view on the lower deck that the only thing that senior management do really well is to stuff things up. You could call it a mailroom myth, if you like, but it's very strongly believed. And the more senior you are, the better job you do. I'd like to begin just by singing a verse of a lovely old English music hall song. It's about a fellow who has been in love with the same girl for 40 years, and he's telling us about it. We've been together now for 40 years, and it ain't been a day too much, but there ain't a lady living in the land that I'd swap for me dear old Dutch. No, there ain't a lady living in the land that I'd swap for me dear old Dutch. Now, we've altered the lyrics to that. It's no longer a lovely old music hall song. Just stand there, please, David. Oh, we've served with Talbot and with Jeff the Pom, and an interim one or two. But then from Doc Barnados and his home for boys came a fine little how-d'ye-do. And of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. Now, Stuart Revell's not here either, and I really regret that. I really regret that. Oh, me mate, Stuart Revell, seen 'em come and go. He survived where a lot shot through. You may well have a signature from David Hill, but you still check it out with Stu. For of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. I think I saw Jerry here. Did I see Jerry? Yeah, Jerry, me little mate Jerry. Oh, all that Jerry wanted when he took the job was a car and a harbour view. But they're waiting for him when he hit the top. The Resources bloody review. But of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. Now, where are we now? Oh, the girl. There's a red-hot rumour that's been flying round, and I say it's about time too that we'll have a lady as our next MD when we get rid of you. No. Who? For of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. Oh, Pete Ledbetter, is he here? Is he? Is that Pete Ledbetter? Ah, I love it. You're going to enjoy this. Pete Ledbetter gave himself the job. He writes his own checks and signs them too. And the Senate subcommittee told me on the side that the bugger can't even count to two. And of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. Now it's Brucey. Now it's Brucey. Yeah, right, little Brucey. Oh. He's GM of legal and of admin serve, and he's as smart as an Afghan Jew. He's as wise as Solomon and Sherlock Holmes, and he's our own little Brucey Poo. And of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. Oh, Malcolm Long, is he here? Malcolm Long? Oh, we'll have him. Yeah, we'll have him. If we could get Dot Strong to marry Malcolm Long. You can think about that for a while. If we could get Dot Strong to marry Malcolm Long, if we could get them to breeding too, then we'd have T-trolleys blocking every lift from the South Bank to Kathmandu. But of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, David, we must pass the cake to you. Is Paddy Conroy here? Nah, the piker. They have fixed up security at Fort Gore Hill. It's a tight ship and a well-drilled crew. Even Paddy Conroy has to flash his card just to go for a pee or a poo. But of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. I think you better have you up in front, John, please. John Cox, please. We're going to refer to his breeding. I want a number of people to be standing by because he's a very violent man. And he's likely not to want to let me finish this. John Cox was bred to use a baseball bat out of gung-ho by King Kung Fu. But then, and I saw over there, Sproul and Boland hit him 1, 2, 3. Now the poor bugger won't say boo. But of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you. We'll finish off now, one more. Now hang about a bit, we must be fair. Give him credit where credit's due. But like a good taxidermist, he will stuff the bears. And you better watch out or he'll do the same to you. But of all the bosses that have stuffed things up, we must pass the cake to you.